Hey, let me ask you something. Have you ever promised yourself, like, next time I'm going to show up differently? Like maybe you told yourself that you'd speak up in that meeting or set a boundary with a friend or just not lose it with your kids. And then the moment came and poof, like you're right back to your old habits. You blink and your authentic self is hiding over in the corner while your autopilot takes over.
Yeah, and that's a struggle, right? Because knowing your authentic self is one thing, but living it out, that's where the practice gets real. That's where intentionality comes in, because our nature and nurture, it gives us all these defaults. But these defaults, they don't have to be our destiny.
Yeah, exactly. And today we're going to pick up where we left off in part 1 last week. And we've already unpacked what authenticity is and what it's not. And now we're going to get practical. Like, how do you actually practice authenticity every day? How do you notice when you're betraying yourself in those little moments? And how do you rewrite those scripts so that you can show up congruent, even when it's hard, or especially when it's hard?
So if you've ever felt stuck in the gap between the self that you want to be and the self that you keep sort of defaulting to, I'm telling you, you're in the right place. This is part 2 of our conversation on the authentic self. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Nature of Everything podcast with Bo and Clint, where we deep dive into the world of personal development through coin. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nature of Everything podcast. I'm Bo.
And I'm Clint. And if you're new here, this is where we explore personal development through our framework, which is COIN. And it stands for confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything.
Yeah, and to catch you up, last week we kicked off part 1 of this conversation about the authentic self. We talked about what it is and what it's not, and why living as a persona will drain you faster than a bad Wi-Fi connection during a Zoom call.
Yeah, and in part 2 today, we're moving past the definitions and into the daily practice. Like, how do you actually live authentically? Like in real time, even when you're tired, even when you're stressed, or maybe if you're just tempted to fall back into those old patterns, how do you keep it going?
Yeah, and look, before we jump in, a quick reminder. If you want to go deeper with this stuff, check out the book. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything in your life. You can find your copy at coinyourlife.com. Like, it's basically the playbook for everything we're talking about here and more.
Hey, we'd love to have you in our community. Like, please start by following us on the socials. Like, just search Coin Your Life on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like, you'll find us sharing things about coin. And you know what? You can just hang out with us. And as we're growing with coin, grow with us.
All right, so shameless plug over. Let's get back into it. If part 1 was about naming the authentic self, part 2 is about practicing it. So let's start with the first step, which is learning to notice those little moments when you betray yourself and how you can shift them. So let's get real practical here. Practicing authenticity isn't about a massive life overhaul. It's the little stuff. It's the small choices where you either move closer to congruence or further away from it. And we call these little moments micro betrayals.
Yeah, and this micro betrayal, it's basically when you ignore that little nudge. You know, that little nudge that you have from your authentic self? You know it. You know you should rest, but you don't. You keep your phone in your hand. You keep scrolling through stuff. You know that you should say no to going out and doing this little thing, whatever it is. But for some reason, you ignore that and you say yes to this weird obligation. You know you should speak up for yourself, but you stay quiet. See, I mean, in a way, they sound kind of small, but you know that they pile up and they stack and they get heavy, real heavy.
Yeah, and here's the crazy part. It's not the missed workout or the skipped glass of water that weighs on you. It's the fact that you knew better and that you ignored yourself. And that's where the weight comes from. Like, you ghosted your authentic self. And I think your brain is keeping score.
Sure does. And that's why the first step in practicing authenticity is awareness. You have to notice those moments. You have to confirm those moments. You can't shove them down. Look, don't beat yourself up. I'm not saying that. Just say, yeah, that was me. I betrayed me right there. In that moment, I left me hanging. Because once you name it, once you recognize that and give it a name and a face, then you can change it.
Yeah, so step one is awareness, but step two is congruence. And congruence just means that your inside and your outside match. What you feel, what you value, and what you do, making sure that those things are aligned. Congruence, it doesn't happen by accident, it happens by intention.
And look, intention, it doesn't mean some grand gesture. It can be as small as saying, hey, I'm tired, so I'm going to bed early. Instead of powering through all of these emails and doing all this stuff, you know what? I got to check out tonight because that's what's healthy for me. Or I don't know, maybe like I don't actually agree with whatever the situation is. So I'm going to speak up. I'm going to do it respectfully, but I'm going to speak up. Like that's congruence in action. It's those tiny decisions. Those also get to stack up.
And you'll know when you're practicing congruence. It's when you start feeling lighter. Even if the moment itself is hard, like saying no might be uncomfortable, but you'll walk away with peace instead of resentment. And that's the reward. You get your energy back and you get to feel congruent.
And that's where COIN comes in. This framework, I promise you, it's not just a cute little acronym. It's literally
it is cute.
It's cute, but it's not just a cute little acronym. It really is a step-by-step practice for authenticity.
Yeah, so let's break it down. Let's break down this cute acronym we got here. Confirm it. Catch the moment. Like, did I just betray myself or did I act in congruence? Confirmation is just honesty. And then we own it. We take responsibility. We don't blame some other person or the situation. We own our role. And then we get to be intentional. We get to choose differently next time. We get to set up the conditions for congruence, even in the smallest ways. And then that's going to change the nature of everything. I mean, like, you're going to be surprised. You're going to watch how those little shifts just ripple out. Because when you start showing up authentically, your relationships shift and your energy changes, and even the opportunities that are in front of you, they start to look different.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty cool how fast these ripples show up. You might think, I don't know, that you're just saying no to one thing, but what you're actually doing is you're rewriting your practice. You're reforming the patterns and practice that you want to put into place. And so that builds congruence over time. Because, I mean, realistically, here's the thing. Authenticity is never a one and done. It's just simply not. It's a practice. And the more you practice, the smaller the gap between your persona and your true self gets. Like, that gap actually starts getting smaller. And the smaller that gap gets, the lighter and more free that you'll feel.
Here's the tricky part about practicing authenticity is that your nature and your nurture are always pulling at you.
Sure.
Your personality, your upbringing, the stories you grew up with, I mean, those are your defaults. And look, some of those defaults, they serve you. But some of them, no, they don't. Not so much.
Certainly. It's those false narratives that we've talked about in previous episodes. And you know what? Like, maybe you grew up in a family where avoiding conflict was consistently the rule. So your default is silence. Or maybe you were raised to think that your worth is in your productivity. So now your default or your false narrative is to overwork yourself. These defaults, these false narratives that don't apply to you necessarily, they can be rewritten, redesigned, because they don't have to be your destiny. But if you don't challenge them, guess what? They run the show. They're there if you don't challenge them.
They will run the show. You couldn't be more right. And that's why intentionality matters. Like, being authentic is saying, like, yeah, I know my default is to shut down, but I'm going to speak up this time. Or you might say, like, well, my default is to push through my exhaustion, but today I'm going to rest instead. And you can't change your past, but you can interrupt your current patterns. And that's being intentional with your authenticity in real time.
And let's be honest, that might not look so sexy and it might not feel so comfortable sometimes. Practicing authenticity is just a lot of small, oftentimes boring choices that stack together, right?
This is so boring. Why are we talking about this?
Well, I mean, think about it. You're not going to go post a viral TikTok about it, right? Nobody's giving you a trophy for saying no politely. But but those are the moments where your authentic self, it truly gets stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like reps at the gym. Like,
Sure.
Every time you practice congruence, you're just building the muscle of authenticity. And at first it's shaky and awkward, and you feel like everybody's looking at you. But over time, it becomes second nature. Intentional consistency over the default autopilot. That's how you become the person that you actually want to be. And it's just wild to me how true that is. Like how it doesn't feel like being your authentic self should be hard, but I'll be damned if it's not.
For sure. Well, and here's the bonus kicker for you, right? Like we've said in the past, you don't have to be perfect to make the progress. Just like you're mentioning in the gym, like the first time you go, yeah, it's shaky and awkward. You do feel like everyone's staring at you because you feel like you're missing the mark. But then what happens when people are staring at you because you're hitting the mark? Like even catching yourself after the fact, like we'd mentioned before, like, man, I betrayed myself there. So if you didn't go to the gym, but if you recognize, hey, that's where I need to be, I'm not going to make that mistake again. And next time you do show up, you are at the gym, you are putting in the work. Well, there's your win, right? That's the bonus. Because the more that you do notice, then the faster you're going to course correct. You're going to put yourself in the right spots and you're going to make those small stackable decisions. There's your growth.
Yeah, that's literally the coin, right?
Sure.
It's the coin in your pocket. That's the big takeaway. Authenticity is not about some grand reveal where you finally arrive as your true self forever. It's not getting out of the limo on the red carpet of your life. It's about practice. It's about awareness and congruence and rewriting some of those defaults and building consistency like one choice at a time. Like it's just step by step.
Sure. And there's a payoff. I mean, you stop performing and start living. You stop pretending and start actually showing up. And you get to feel the actual freedom that comes with being congruent. Because like realistically, when that happens, you don't feel that drained exhaustion from putting that mask on, that wearing that persona one more time.
Yeah. And when you practice authenticity like that, you're not just changing you, you're changing the nature of everything. Your relationships, your work, your energy, your peace, all of it's going to shift. So let's put some handles on this. Like if you're kind of wondering like, okay, guys, how do I actually practice authenticity? Well, here are a few exercises that you could try like right away.
So number one, just do a congruence check. Like at the end of the day, ask yourself maybe two questions. Where was I congruent today? Then also ask yourself, where did I perform a micro betrayal? Like where did I let myself down? So with that, like put it into writing, journal it. Like, think about this, write it down, even if it's just a sentence. Like, don't judge it, don't yell at it, don't shame it. Just put a name to it. Put a name to what you did for yourself and what you did as a micro betrayal to yourself. That awareness, man, it's huge. It's everything.
You know, another thing that I think you could do is the body compass. Like, pay attention to your body. Where and when did you feel drained? Like, where and when did you feel alive? Like that's usually your authentic self trying to tell you something. And science backs this up. Like studies show that when people act in congruence with their true selves, they experience less stress and kind of a better overall well-being. Like your nervous system literally says, hey man, thanks for being real.
All right, another thing. Maybe a small no as an answer. Like if you struggle with people pleasing, which plenty of us do, start practicing with something small. Say no to one extra Zoom meeting if that's something that you're capable of doing, or no to one of those quick favors. Hey man, can you do me a quick favor? Maybe today you can't. Maybe you just simply don't have the bandwidth for that. Then don't betray yourself on that. Give yourself the opportunity to say no. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be crazy or no grandstanding. I mean, just start with a micro no. If you have micro betrayals, then just a micro no. Like just it builds that. Yeah, no, sorry, no. It builds that muscle of congruence, right? It's that small stackable piece.
Yeah, and you know what else that you can do is that you can practice with safe people.
Sure.
Like not everyone deserves your full authentic self right away. Not everyone you're going to feel comfortable like being your most transparent.
Sure.
Like start with somebody that you trust. Like test it out. It's like emotional batting practice. And then when the game is on, you'll be ready.
That's fair. You know what's crazy is that, like we've mentioned before, psychologists have actually studied this. They found that when people act authentically, their brains actually process social interactions differently. authentic expression activates parts of the brain that's like linked to rewards. And it actually reduces the activation in these areas linked to stress and anxiety. It brings that down. So a quick translation of that is being real and being authentic literally feels better to your brain.
That's such a better way to say it.
Right? Just say that first, right?
Yeah, look, it's not just philosophy. Like Clint's saying, it's biology. Your body keeps the score. And when you betray yourself, your nervous system gets taxed. And when you live congruently, your system relaxes. And that's why authenticity isn't just about being a better person. It's about being a healthier one.
I think we've all felt like that, right?
Yeah.
Think about the last time you had to fake it through, whatever it was, some event or a conversation. You've already come home exhausted. You're tired. You're beat up from the day. But when you're with people who, I don't know, like they get you, you leave energized. Even if you stayed, you stayed too long, you stayed up too late. Again, like you mentioned before, it's not just a vibe. It's you're not just vibing with that. It's neurochemistry for all intents and purposes.
So basically what we're saying is authenticity, it's good medicine. Let's be real. Sometimes it's awkward medicine, or like the first time you actually say no and you feel like you've just committed a federal crime, or the first time you share your real opinion and you kind of wait for everybody to gasp. But spoiler alert, they usually don't. And most of the time, people are just glad that you were honest.
And sometimes they do react. I mean, I get that, but that's when you learn, like their reaction, that's not your responsibility. Authenticity isn't about controlling other people's response. It's about controlling your own congruence. And once you get that, you get freed up.
I mean, it's way funnier to live authentically anyway. Because when you stop pretending, you get to laugh at yourself, or you get to admit the dumb stuff or the struggles or the fails. And that's real connection. Like nobody connects to a persona. They connect to a person. Which is kind of what I was talking about when I felt like, I didn't tell all of me. And so I kind of felt flat. If I just list out my accomplishments, well, that's rather boring. Like you don't get to laugh with me, at me, which we're all welcome to do. So all right, that's part 2. We've talked about practicing authenticity, naming those micro betrayals, paying attention to your body, and saying those small no's, and building in some little practices to help you to build congruence, just one small choice at a time.
We even gave you some science. Because nothing says authentic like quoting brain scans or something like that in the middle of a podcast.
So authentic. It's authentically science, people.
Yeah, it is.
Here's the bottom line. Authenticity, it's not about arriving. It's about practicing awareness and congruence and rewriting your defaults and staying consistent. Like over time, all of those small reps, they're going to change the whole game.
And you know what? If you need a playbook to help change that whole game, don't forget, we actually wrote a book about it. It's Confirm It, Own It, Be Intentional, and Change the Nature of Everything in Your Life. It's at coinyourlife.com. Hey, go grab a copy, join the community, and you know what? Let's put the reps in together. Let's practice this all together as a community.
Yeah, or if you want a little extra encouragement, or maybe you want to listen to Clint kind of talk about the Coin Book, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Just search Coin Your Life. It's kind of where we hang out and we share some extra stuff.
All right, so here's your challenge for the week. Pick one small congruent practice. Maybe it's the end of the day kind of congruence check. Check it out. See if you were congruent with yourself, or if you provided a micro betrayal. Check that out again. Maybe it's just saying no, like a small no. Again, nothing crazy, just a small no. Maybe it's just
the mini no.
The mini no. To go with the mini micro betrayals, the micro no. It's just noticing when your body feels drained. Take that check and give yourself that time. Don't try to overhaul your whole life. Like, it's not an overnight overhaul. It's just a rep, just one repetition, just one small step. That's it.
Yeah, and across all of our podcasts, I don't think that we can hit that hard enough. This isn't about the overhaul. This is take the smallest possible step that you can. Show yourself that you can, and just keep practicing a little bit at a time. It's fine. Quit beating yourself up about it. Because when you practice authenticity, it's going to feel weird at first. you might feel awkward. You might feel like you're breaking some kind of invisible rule. But I promise, no one's going to show up with you with handcuffs and say, "Excuse me, sir, we heard that you said no to an extra project. You're under arrest for authenticity."
The authenticity police.
They're out there going like, "You're under arrest."
Which, you know what? It's fair. So do that. Like, practice. And by all means, laugh at yourself when you mess it up. When you drop the ball, when you fumble the ball, fine. Pick it back up. It's still practice. That's the work, bro. That's where congruence lives. And that's how you change the nature of everything.
I dig it.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out coinyourlife.com and find us on social media.